Good morning, everyone. Lyndon Bradford here, and welcome to another episode of the Sales and Entrepreneurship series. Now, we haven't had the ability to continue the series during the period of COVID, but it didn't mean that we weren't paying attention to what was happening. And over the particular period of time of COVID, within the 90 days that we would have all been cooped up inside and stuff like that, I've had the privilege of meeting a number of really great entrepreneurs with some keen ideas and services that have been able to bring that adds a lot of value to what we do. And today I am extremely happy, as I always say that, I'm extremely happy to have with me Ms. Andrea Ragoo. And Andrea Ragoo is the founder of ATR Business Solutions. But today we're not going to be talking marketing, we're not going to be talking sales techniques. We're actually going to be talking about some of the hard and dirty stuff that sales or entrepreneurs don't always like to pay attention to. Keeping your books in order, finances, how that affects the growth of your business, And it's funny because when I spoke to Andrea the first time, she scared me because I was like, shit, I don't have some of that stuff in order, right? So Andrea has really been pivotal in really helping me understand what are some of the things I need to have in order for the growth of my business, because I want to be able to go into new industries and new organizations, but they may be asking for things that if I don't have my bookkeeping in order, if I don't have my financial statement set up properly, guess what? I can't even submit for pre-qualification. And those are the things that we really want to make sure that you guys pay attention to as it relates to your growth. So, Andrea, good morning, and I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be present here with me. What's up?
Good morning. And then thanks so much for inviting me on our little chat.
Right.
I'm sorry that I scared you. I didn't mean to.
But sometimes you ever sit down in an audience and you hear somebody say something and it falls straight into your space. You're like, oh my goodness.
That's why you call it when something fall in your garden.
Yes. Because it's can happen. You say, okay, good, I'm doing it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, I need to do that now because I haven't been doing it so long. So
Yes.
it really, what a lot of the things that you mentioned to me really, really stood out. So what I want to do, I just want to ask you just to give the audience a little bit a background about yourself and a little bit about what ATR Business Solutions does, and then we kind of go into some of the questions as to why those things are important.
All right. So Andrea Ragoo is the name, as you said. I founded ATR Business Solutions last year. It's been a dream of mine. I'm a qualified accountant. So by profession, I'm a qualified accountant. And my dream has always been to go out on my own. Ever since my wee days of junior accountant and training to be a professional accountant, somewhere in the back of my mind, I think I wanted to be here.
Right.
Because, the dream, you cast aside the dream for a while and then something happens and kicks you in the butt and say, you know what, I think it's time. Right. So ATR Business Solutions came out of that desire to, I want to help entrepreneurs, self-employed and small, but I don't like to use the word small, I call it growing business.
Right. I appreciate
that. Use the term small business, but someone once told me, no, it's not a small business, it's a growing business, because if you keep saying small business, you stay a small business. So I realized that growing businesses, entrepreneurs, self-employed persons, it was difficult for them to get access to quality services, accounting services. I found that, the firms, the big fours and these medium-sized firms, they don't really cater to the homemaker who has a side business, or the person who's working and trying to, run something on the side, or even somebody who's wholly self-employed and just trying to start from somewhere.
Right.
They don't really cater, they don't really come down to that level, right? And I have found that when that happens, they don't get quality service. So ATR Business Solutions aims to provide quality, affordable, reasonable financial services in terms of accounting, bookkeeping, etc. But the aim is also to be a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs.
Right.
This problem that you have, that you need assistance with, Business Solutions would like to be that solution for you, to work with you to find that solution.
All right.
But I said the aim is growing businesses.
Great. So let me ask you this. Companies who are new to the business, let's say for instance, you're as you say, you're a growing business. Like, why would that be important? Like, normally you tend to find people might say, well, I don't need an accountant now because my business is small, quote unquote. But why would I really need to pay attention to my finances, my bookkeeping and stuff like that, even at this stage in terms of having those things right? Like, is it really important for them to be doing that now?
Yes, it's important to do it from day one. So take the simplest of things. You want to open a business bank account with the bank.
Mm-hmm.
First thing they ask you for is history.
Right.
You're in business. Where are you going to get that history? So you tell them that. You say, well, no, I just opened. I don't have history. You know what they tell you? Oh, well, let's do a projection.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to get that projection from?
Right.
You need to start documenting what you think your sales is going to be, what you think your expenses are going to be.
Right.
Even just a simple task of opening a bank account that has nothing to do, we didn't even talk yet creating a financial statements or filing anything with BIR. You just say, you know what, if I want to start this business, I want to create a separate account so that my money could go separately.
Mm-hmm.
From straight out the gate, we need documentation.
Right.
We need to become, and they ask you things like, okay, is it registered? And you say, well, no, what about your name? Did you do anything, have you registered your name? No, I just decide I'm going to call it ABC, and I launch a little Facebook page.
Right.
And, I printed some labels off a computer, and they said, no, what's your business plan? You don't have that. And well, you of all people will know the importance of a business plan.
Yes.
So before we even straight out the gate, you have, the need for a certain level of documentation and compliance.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty accurate, because it is putting together. So exactly what you said there is one of the things that I am in the process of doing for the accountable pathway. And guess what? They did ask me for a projection. But here's the interesting thing though. I have all of my past contracts. So I can actually show them the contracts when the time comes. So if even if they question my projection, I can say, well,
correct,
that I've had, and this is how I've built the projection. So normally when I go in to do anything, I personally like to have, as you said, documentation. But I know that sometimes when it comes to documentation, people just keep receipts in the purse and the wallet and the tray in the car, glove box.
Wow. Listen, I've gotten receipts in envelopes. I've gotten receipts in boxes. Yeah, it's one of them, it rip up, and I was like, what is this? And I had to tape it back together to figure out what it was. So yeah, keeping documentation is really, really, I stress how important it is. Because your account, whoever your financial accountant is, whoever is that person, your financial professional is, only way for them to do their job, right? We cannot do it based on, now we can do a projection for you, but then even when, what am I projecting, what is the basis of my projection, right? I can't do projections based on what's sitting in your head, right? You might think, oh yes, this product is really good, and it's never been seen before. An accountant will tell you, okay, can I see your market research then? I say, well, okay, if you say you plan to sell 100 units, and you say that this is a never before seen product, let me see your market research that says that this is a market expert now saying, yes, this is what the market needs.
Yeah.
Again, we go back to documentation. There's no way around it. The importance of having your records in an understandable format. Because you always need it. You always need it. And like we just said, straight out the gate, it's important.
Yeah. Everything that you mentioned there stands out to me, and I'll actually we'll go into another topic here right now, because it's something that I realized that I didn't have when we're talking about growth. I didn't have, well, of course, the business was new, so I didn't have a lot of financial statements. Plus, I wasn't doing proper record keeping. I wasn't also trading a lot. But I remember personally that at one time in 2015 when I started the business, I was actually working, so I was still doing up my full 8 to 4.
Your full 8 to 4, yeah? Yep,
So I
everybody.
was kind of doing some work on the side, making a little
Yeah.
money, that kind of thing. But what happened too is that I was going to apply for something with one of the ministries, one of the state entities, and my colleague said, "But Lyndon, you can't apply because you haven't filed any annual returns."
Yes.
I was like, "What do you mean?" But I was saying to him, "We really make no kind of profit.
And you do nothing.
I do nothing really,
You
so
do
I
nothing for the
don't like it."
year.
Exactly. What I
Yeah.
have to file annual returns for? I said, "No, my friend, you need to make sure that the business is in good standing." So I just want to get from you, like, do you see a lot of that happening also with entrepreneurs? Like, they're not taking that really, really seriously, and the impact of that they can have in terms of, because this is still sales too, right? Because if you can't apply, then you can't get business.
Correct.
Sales. So do
Correct.
you see a lot of that?
So yes, I see it. I see it all the time where entrepreneurs, there's a misconception. Entrepreneurs think, well, I didn't sell anything. So like maybe they reach the point where they registered the name. So say a trader, for example, they registered the name. And they say, well, okay, I didn't do anything. I didn't trade. I didn't think. And so they file nothing. They didn't file a tax return. And well, you don't file annual return as a sole trader, but you didn't file anything. So you didn't do your tax return. But businesses registered, incorporated companies, because there's a difference. Oh, well, yeah, I didn't do anything. So I didn't file my corporate tax return and I didn't file an annual return. So you find that because there's a misconception of, well, I'm just a small business, oh, I didn't do anything this year.
Yeah.
They say, well, I don't need to file. And my answer to that usually is, okay, you said you didn't do anything, but how does BIR know that you didn't do anything? You didn't tell them.
Yeah.
The way you communicate the way a business, think about that communication, the way a business communicates with BIR and statutory authorities is via compliance.
Compliance, right.
Necessary paperwork that each entity requires. It won't know. How are they going to know what has transpired with your business if you have not told them? So, because the BIR and stuff, if I don't know if I'm getting off the topic, but when if they don't hear from you, they assess you, and then they will make you pay a tax that you never even thought was possible. You know why?
I don't think anybody wants to be in that situation.
Yeah, an assessment you don't want to be. Anything about it. For you to reach the stage of an assessment, that is years of BIR trying to contact you and get stuff from you, and you're not paying.
Right. And again, I would admit, because I've had two businesses, right? The one before, I do remember getting a letter. I got two letters actually telling me you haven't filed, whatever, and then there was $300 per day or per month, however it was. It was scary to read because the fees was ridiculous high. Like it was $300.
Penalties will kill you.
Yeah, and I'm also saying, and I'm also saying, but I'm not trading, I'm not doing anything. So why am I? But again, the process is you have to file those annual returns.
You have to file.
So that's it from this standpoint. So that's two things that we're looking at, right? Because you could be penalized for not filing your annual returns, whether you're trading or not, right? And this is this specifically for folks who have the limited liability companies?
Yes. So you file an annual return when you're what they call an incorporated business.
Right.
So everybody has a business. You're a business. I'm a business. Everybody has a business, but what differentiates you is the type of registration that you would have done at the start of your business.
Right.
So, for example, if you notice, the name of my business is ATR Business Solutions. It's not limited in the name. At this point in time, I'm considered a sole trader. I've registered my business as a sole trader. OPAT3, I think you told me, it has limited in the name. So it means to say you are an incorporated business.
Right.
So you get the benefits of using limited in your name to identify yourself to people. Listen, I'm an incorporated business. My business is a separate legal entity.
Right.
That's what you're saying to the public, right? So the annual return now kicks in for those incorporated businesses.
Right.
Right. So You tend to find, though, that with limited companies, the compliance is a lot higher. Compliance requirements are a lot higher than sole traders and even partnerships.
So
unincorporated businesses.
Right. So I want to ask you, I'm going to go into two questions now. So the first question I want to ask you is, do sole traders and in partnerships, do they have to file as well, or how is it different for them?
Well, filing, there's two types of filing. There's filing with BIR and filing with legal affairs, right? So everybody, straight across the board, you have an obligation to BIR. You have to pay the tax man, right?
Right.
However, from a legal affairs perspective, only incorporated businesses has the requirement, which would be companies, to file things like annual returns, notice of directors, notice of secretary, and articles of incorporation, etc. Right? Once you're incorporated, you have to file those things. Sole traders are not incorporated, right? So they don't fall in that category. However, partnerships, you can have you can have two types of partnerships. There are incorporated partnerships, limited liability partnerships, and there are unincorporated partnerships, which is just basically two sole traders coming together and deciding that they want to operate together as a partnership.
Right.
Right. So you can have both, but definitely sole traders, no. Partnerships, it depends on how you registered.
Type of partnership. So, and then the second question with that, because you just touched on it there, so the way that you ended is how I want to go into this one. The different types of businesses, because a lot of the times it's funny that you mentioned those things, because I only knew about sole trader and incorporations, right? I didn't know that you could have done partnerships, and even if I did know, to be honest with you, until I spoke to you, I wasn't clear as to what that was. So if you can give us some clarity as to the different types, because the different types of companies people can have based upon, how they want to get started. Not everybody might want to have a limited liability. So what are the other options for them?
Correct. So usually when we talk about those topics, we always start with the sole trader first. We go from easy to hard.
Right.
So sole trader is like myself. I work alone. I'm sole trader. I'm the only person in my business, right? If I wanted to work with someone under my current registration, I go into business with somebody and I say, you know what, I think you can help my business. And they say, well, yeah, you can help my business too. Or I want to work with you. We can enter into a partnership agreement. Can stay unincorporated.
Right.
But our partnership agreement will be legally binding. We can have our partnership arrangement. That person will be considered a sole trader. I am considered a sole trader, and we're going to meet in the middle with our partnership agreement, where we will decide how we're splitting profits, how we're splitting costs.
Right.
Or we could decide, you know what? Let's enter into a partnership agreement and have it incorporated, where you go now and you get, maybe it won't even be ATR, it might be XYZ, because now we're creating a new venture.
Right. Okay.
Right? And we're saying this partnership will be called XYZ Limited. XYZ LLP, Limited Liability Partnership.
Oh, okay.
Right? And you create this new venture and you incorporate it and you're running like a partnership. There are a lot of partnerships in the public domain that most people don't realize are partnerships. It's very popular in the oil and gas sector. And the various oil and gas companies come together on exploration and the various oil rigs, etc. Sometimes they do it with a joint venture agreement, which is just a very complex
partnership.
Right? But the core of it is a partnership agreement. Most accounting firms that you see, the big popular names that you know, they are actually partnerships, right? If you notice, they'll always hear the auditors saying, well, they report into a partner, etc. They literally mean a partner in a firm.
Yes.
Right? So that's just a more complex one. So that's the types of partnerships. A company now, I'm still using me as the example. I could decide my business is growing and I'm ready to transition into being an incorporated entity, that's when I go and I register, and then I become ATR Business Solutions Limited.
Right.
And for that to happen, you have to have directors. You have to have at least two or three directors. You have to appoint a secretary, etc. And you have to start filing all these various documents now with legal affairs. So the type of business, now some people like to look at it like you have to become a limited company, and that they view the three categories there as stages in growth, right? As you have to pass through all. I like to tell clients, not necessarily, right? It depends on what the goal for your business is, right? If you have a very simple at-home business, maybe you're generating 1 or 2 sales on the side. You have your 8 to 4 running, and this is your side gig. You're not really generating sales every day. You're not really, your goal is not really to grow it, but it's just a supplementary source of income. Why would you want to register it as a limited company?
Right.
Then start to incur the cost of compliance.
Yeah.
I'm not saying not to, but I'm just saying it always warrants a look at pros and cons.
And that's where we have people like yourself would give customers that kind of guidance as to, where you should start. Because it's interesting because I could see customers starting off as sole traders, becoming a partnerships, and then gradually growing into a limited liability once it's going in that direction.
Correct.
Basically, what you are saying is that you don't really have to jump straight into a limited liability.
No, you can start, and then for some people you can, depending on what your goal was.
Yeah.
So like I said, when the two persons using the partnership, if 2 people came together and decided, like a tech company,
right?
Technology is all the rage now, and you may have startups and whatnot. They will have to go more than likely to a incorporated status straight away because they want to get investors.
Yes.
So they would need to be registered, as a proper registered company because they need to get financing. They may need to go to the bank. They may need to get what you call the venture capitalists involved, etc. So straight out the gate, they will have to be duly incorporated. But somebody working for themselves, like I say, something out of their home, maybe they ever so often they make cakes and they sell, nothing too complicated, and they might say, well, I don't really want to grow this. I just, this is just something I do, that is earning me some money. If you don't have the vision that you want to take it to another level, well, then you stay as you register the name, and you just keep your record so that when you're filing your tax return, you do what is necessary.
Right.
But, I think some people feel that you have to go through all these stages, or you have to be a limited company. But I always like to tell people, before you do it, think about if you have a goal in mind. If at the time you don't have a goal in mind, then don't rush into a limited liability company, because there are certain requirements when you're a limited liability company, because you would rush into it and then don't trade, and you would lose certain tax allowances.
Oh.
There's certain allowances that when you now start a business, there are certain things that you're allowed. So don't rush to register it if you're not ready to trade, because then you lose the time. And then somewhere around year 3 or year 4, I now start to do this thing as well. Tough luck. You lost the opportunity to claim these certain allowances because you let the time lapse, because you would.
So you are saying that even as an entity, so within your first 3 years, as a new limited liability,
there are certain taxes that you
Ah.
So don't waste, think about it, because you may be, and the tax regime, we haven't, probably in the last 50 years, we haven't changed that much.
Right.
But you'll be amazed at when you get into our taxes, sometimes I myself, I'd be like, wow, there's an allowance for that. Okay, I didn't know that. There's a number of allowances that you may be able to claim.
I think
And
I'm good at some of those.
I know I'm not just scaring you, but you know, because I once worked with a client, and she said, well, I didn't, she registered the name, yes, and she registered, but she, just like you were saying before, I didn't trade. And I'm like, well, if you wasn't ready, why did you register? Because there's certain things that are time oriented.
Mm-hmm.
The IR says, okay, what they recognize is that the first couple of years of a business, you may be making losses, etc. You're allowed certain things that can help your business.
Wow.
I wouldn't want people to miss the opportunity.
And are those things that you could are those things that you can put in your annual returns to give you back on those allowances?
The tax return, not the annual return.
The tax returns.
Yeah. So those are things that you can, put in your tax return that will either decrease your liability or might turn you into a refundable position. Yeah.
Oh.
So the structure, the type of registration defines where you lie on the tax line. It will determine where you are.
All right. And that in itself, so I'm going to ask you, we're going to be going into wrapping up a little bit. I have two important questions for you. The first question is, now I know that sometimes you told me that sometimes you are looking through. So we're gonna kind of go back to reinforce the importance of having all your bookkeeping stuff in order, right?
Right.
So I know that you told me at one time that you sometimes get the ability to vet documentations that are coming in, whether it's either for pre-qualifications or for tenders, and some of them you have to discard. Why would you have to discard some of them?
Yes. So in my current job, yes, I have the opportunity to see documents like that, and it's discarded because you're not compliant. So especially with government entities, when you see government entities say, well, inviting tenders for to build a bridge or to pave the road or whatever it is, and they say, okay, please, and they give you all the thing about what is necessary. And then the fine print now, when you actually go and collect the tender package, the first page is the list of documentation requirements, annual returns, audited financial statements, your VAT certificate, you are VAT registered. Your VAT certificate says that, hey, my VAT is up to date.
Right.
Your NIS certificate for your employees that says I'm up to date with NIS. So all these things straight out the gate. You can't submit those things. My simple thing as my incorporation certificate or my registration document. If you're not meeting those things, you won't even move on to phase 2, which is where they actually start to determine if you're capable of doing the job.
Yeah.
And on that topic, new procurement legislation that is due to be proclaimed, that now just basically cements all that I just said and make it mandatory, absolutely mandatory, that you be pre-registered and the pre-registration process. So what they're basically doing, so there's now an Office of Procurement.
Right.
That is Office of Public Procurement, right, that has been established already. So what they're basically saying is, and this is where all government entities and state enterprises, they no longer will have their own tendering process. You are to select someone from this pre-registered list, this pre-registered government list. So any government contract that you see, you will have to be a vendor registered on that list. And I'm talking about everything from the supply of paper, construction services.
Wow.
So from being an auditor to supplying uniforms, anything that a government entity, and think about how wide the government is.
Is exactly, yeah.
You have to be pre-registered. right? And the pre-registration process is that what I just told you there, your annual return. You think, no, even if you're a sole trader, that doesn't mean you can't qualify. But as a sole trader, you have to show I've registered my business.
Right.
I am VAT registered, that I am up to date. If I am an employee, because as a sole trader, you can have someone working for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can have, make sure that you have all these things. You can have your audit, your financial statement, sorry, right? At least show these are my management accounts, these are my financials. So it's not that to say it's not that, oh well, small businesses can't participate. But the message I want to get across is that is where we're moving to.
Right.
As a country. We're moving that centralized procurement process. Your argument could be, well, all right, well, I don't want to work, well, I don't really want to work for the government anyway. They take too long to pay. Guess what? Because of this legislation, the conglomerates, as we call them, the Ansa McCalls, the Massey's, and the whatever, private business could decide to adopt and say, well, no, we're just going to adopt. And
I've seen that as well, yeah.
Yeah, they just adopt, because then it becomes good governance from where they sit.
Yeah.
Where they sit, it becomes good governance to just say, hey, just pull from you need to get 3 quotes to build this wall. Go to the procurement website. Pull, let's invite 3 people from that list.
Yeah.
So it's better to get yourself in order, because the way that we're going, you may find yourself not being eligible. And it is a shame to not be eligible for a sales opportunity, because these, what I would say, minute details are not in order.
Yeah.
Because in the grand scheme of things, when you have your business plan and you have the best technical person working with you, and you know you can do the job, you missed it because you didn't file a document. It's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. So, Andrea, I want to close on that note. So my last and final question would be to please let the people and they know where and how they can get in contact with you, and of course, what handles, where is it that they can find you, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, what have you. So if you can just share with them the areas that they can get you on.
Right. So, well, Facebook will be ATR Business Solutions. On Instagram, currently working on the Instagram page, so soon to be released.
That's fine.
We'll have the same handle. The handle will be ATR. So ATR Business Solutions as well. So that is where my main platform will be, and I will also be located on LinkedIn under Andrea Ragoo.
Right.
Find me there.
So thank you so much for being part of this episode, Andrea. It is.
Thank you for inviting me.
I really enjoy it, because as much as it may not, and as much as some people may not see it as being a big thing, if you're really looking at getting your business to grow, you want to go into certain, as you just said, that last point there in terms of growing into certain companies, conglomerates, state entities. I actually am looking at doing business with somebody, Massey's, and I did something with my colleague Jared, and I did something with Ansa at one time last year. If it is that they're asking us for that now, I need to talk to Jared to say, yo, do we have our annual returns in order?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Really important. And this is one of the key elements as it relates to having your business structured in such a way, because every business must have some sort of financial control. Bookkeeping must be in order.
Correct.
It's not like how you keep your receipts in your handbag or in your pocket or your wallet.
No more handbag receipts. Put aside your little envelope or your file folder, mark it, accounts, and just make sure it's there. And it's simple things. It's simple things. It's even if your business, it could be a notebook, right? If it is you're operating from home, it could just be as simple as a notebook with your records of what you spent or money that you received. It's I know I use the word compliance, and I hope people don't think it's a big challenge. It's just that the cost of not having it is what becomes the problem. But to it, a little bit of discipline goes a long way to ensure that your business is always ready for the next step in your growth. And that's what ATR Business Solutions hopes to help entrepreneurs with, you know, making you ready that when the time comes and you see that tender in that newspaper, say, hey, I could do this. Yes, I could do this.
Right.
These little things don't come back to bite you, where you're now scrambling to backfill because you're now running to prepare some kind of accounts, or you're now running to, you know, get up to date on a tax return and filing. No, because by that time you're supposed to be focusing on winning tender.
Which, by the way, that rushing costs you money, because
of course it does.
a lot of money.
Because by that time, the time has passed. You're probably going to have penalties to pay, and then to get it done quickly, somebody is probably going to charge you an arm and a leg to get it done urgently.
Urgently, yeah.
You know. So and I should also, it's good that you bring that up, because legal affairs now is you can no longer walk in. Just remember, COVID has changed the way that these statutory authorities are operating. I called for an appointment, got when a horse that I run around, and then eventually I got the appointment. The appointment is 3 weeks away.
Okay.
So
which could mean that your tender might be in week 2, and you get
right. So you see the tender today.
Yeah.
Tender closed. What are you gonna do? Because they're not allowing you to walk in. So it was before, you probably could have sent a messenger or sent somebody and say, hey, go down to legal affairs 8 o'clock in the morning and wait.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Did not know that. So
I should also know there is an amnesty on as well.
Oh, there's an amnesty on?
Yes. Okay. There's an amnesty, legal affairs, you know, to get, because they know they were closed. Right. But even amnesty, like I just said, you can't just walk into the building.
You have to do the appointment.
Yeah. Right. You have to be mindful. Now, all these, and I think even VR as well, everybody's organizing themselves in that kind of way.
Right.
So if you have to go to these entities right now, you know, make sure and call or check their websites or visit them to determine how you can visit them.
Right. Right. So Andrea, again, thank you so much. This has been extremely valuable to me. And again, this is, as I said, guys, the Sales and Entrepreneurship series has gotten broader. We're not just talking about the sales techniques, marketing techniques and stuff like that. We are actually looking at expanding it to help entrepreneurs get the right bits of information. We might even have somebody that's going to help us talk about how do you want to identify to get an investor. Well, Andrea just brought it up there just earlier in her conversation, that to even get an investor, your bookkeeping needs to be in order. Andrea, again, thank you. And guys, have a great day. Peace.
Yes. Thank you.